All right, what's up, everyone? We're starting quickly today. We're on limited time. Today we're going to be reviewing Pokemon ZA because we've all played it, and it was pretty cool, I guess. So first I'm doing one of these review videos, so I'm not sure how exactly it's going to go, but we'll figure it out. I've written down notes, so we'll figure it out as we go. So today I have Josh, of course, and then I have
I
Pokemon expert Isaac as well.
That's right.
Um, So I will start quickly. I will ask you guys overall. So without getting into any specifics, as we'll get into that in a minute. Overall, how would you describe this game? Like, did you like it? Would you recommend it to somebody
mid.
else? Etc.
Just it's very mid.
Very
It's
mid.
it's whatever.
Really? Why? Why would you say that? Like without like too many specifics. Like what makes it worse than other
I
games?
mean, I mean, the actual map is kind of stupid. Um, the uh the you know the graphics are a little better, but they're still okay. I mean, like the other graphics in the games, like the menus and stuff, those are really crisp and clean. But the models of everything, they're kind of Um, I mean, like, yeah, I know it's like a different type of Pokemon game. I mean, I like the active time battle thing,
Yeah,
um, but then also like it's just kind of I don't know, it's just kind of whatever.
I see. Okay, Isaac, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say as for like a Pokemon game, it's a good entry in the series, but overall, it just didn't really have that wow factor for me. So I think it
Wow.
was, yeah,
Okay.
overall, I'd say it's a good entry into the series. Like I think, um, Yeah. Like I think it's a Arceus was better. if you're bored, it's a good game to pick up and play. But um, like overall, it's like in terms of like a game, I don't think I would play it again.
Interesting. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna be the positive one here then today. I actually really liked this game. Um, without going into
It's
too
a
much, like
shocker.
I feel like a lot of the changes they made to this game were for the better. Generally I've been more critical on Pokemon games for the last 10 or so years. I really didn't like some of them, but I feel like this game actually does a lot of things well. I do think that the combat change was for the better. I do think that ultimately the story is better than most. And I don't know. I feel like it was a fun adventure from start to finish. I actually really enjoyed it. Um,
I think the
so
start was way too slow.
the beginning is a bit bad, but we'll get into that in a minute. Um, so okay, we'll start with section one here, which I have as down as gameplay. So this is, of course, everything you do when you're playing the game. So exploring the world, the new combat system, how does it catch Pokemon in this game, exploring the wild zones, etc., the night area, all of that. So we'll start off with, I guess, exploring Lumio City. So first of all, I want to ask, do we think that having the entire setting of this game being just Lumio City, do we think that was the right choice for this game? Do we think that worked?
Absolutely not. Yeah, no. I would say no. It would be yes if they made the city actually interesting. But it's a lot of just cut and paste building after building, just random like those like scaffoldings that you just kind of hop around. Uh, and like the only buildings you like go in, like all the Pokemon centers are the same. They're just a little
Yeah,
street corner shop. Like all the like and then there's only like a restaurant that you go into. And so it's just kind of it's like it's not no like there needed to be and then like the because like the wild zones are oh it's just a little park.
yeah,
It's just a little bit of grass
sure.
basically. And so I think if they really put more attention to detail within the entire city and maybe had like more fun things to do within the city than just walk around.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's the whole point is just walking around and being like, wow, this building looks like that other building. And wow, I can go up another scaffolding. So like, it's like, that part sucked.
Okay, fair enough. I will actually, I say, I'll go and let you say what you guys say first, and I'll continue from there.
Yeah, I'll say my piece. I think that exploration was like, yeah, really boring. It was just a lot of buildings. The wild zones were just really small, and it felt like very confining, and it just, yeah, pretty much there wasn't like any like when you like want to explore a game like that, you want to go and have like these big open areas to explore. You want it to be like something unique and different, but it was very similar. Um, the wild areas were not like enough to spice it up or anything like that because they were so small. And then when you did go to them, they weren't anything special at all, really. So yeah, I think that part of the game wasn't super great.
Like I would say that like the Wild Zone in Pokemon Sword and Shield was better.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah, and that's not saying much.
yeah. 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 So as to start off with like the world itself, yeah, I think this is definitely an example of Game Freak. I think the devs did the most with what they were given, basically. I think ultimately they were probably told, hey, we don't have time or the ability to make this into this whole big giant region. So we'll give you one city to work with. Thankfully, it had the biggest city in Pokemon history to work with, but ultimately it's still one city. And yeah, we talked about this multiple times in the past. Like, how would this work? How would having one city be the entire location of this game be? I think ultimately it's a decent attempt, but it just still feels like it kind of is missing something. Like, it doesn't really feel like it's and capturing the true essence of Pokemon is. It definitely feels like there's definitely something to be desired. Um, in terms of the wild zones, I totally agree. The wild zones I think are the most underwhelming and maybe disappointing part of the game. Um, you look back at Legends Arceus and how big and grand those areas were when you explored them. There's huge open areas, all these different crazy Pokemon and biomes and all that. This game just feels like such a far cry from that. Like it's literally these like boxed off like zoo exhibit-esque areas that really make no sense. Like why are they there? Like they create new ones like when you get farther in the game and they're literally like just like build them around like people's like homes and shops and stuff and it's like this doesn't make any sense. Like this looks ridiculous. So I didn't like it at all. I thought the Wild Zones were very poorly thought out, honestly. I didn't like them. I think I think they were doing what I said, considering they have one city to work with, I think they did the best they could. But ultimately I yeah, I don't think it worked. In general, I think finding wild Pokemon in this game was not the best. I mean, even if you look past the wild zones themselves, like going up on the roofs or going into the sewers, like those things didn't feel quite as grand or as exciting to explore as I think they made it seem like they were going to be. Um, and I don't know, I thought that was a shame because, like I said, Legends Arceus did that so well. Um, and this game just totally dropped the ball in that regard. So I don't know. I hope that we already know now thanks to some Terra leaks that they're going to be doing this again for Galar. So we'll see how they handle it in that game. But yeah, I think this is where they ultimately had the biggest drop off. I do think that catching Pokemon, or maybe not catching Pokemon, but at least fighting Pokemon in the wild, not the best. I wish that was done a little better. Um, so then I'll ask you next. I'll start actually off with this one. The new combat. This was actually my favorite new addition to the game. I loved this new combat system. It feels so fresh, so fast-paced, so exciting. I liked it a lot. I don't think they're going to keep this going forward like permanently. Maybe for the Legends games they do, but
Hmm.
mainline games I imagine will be turn-based still. But I really liked this. I feel like the turn-based system had reached its limit. We've seen it in the last few games now, Scarlet and Violet. I know Let's Go had this problem a lot back on, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Um, where the turn-based battles just felt very slow and they felt very not fun. And I didn't like them. Like it was definitely a long drop off from Black and White, X and Y. They were so fast-paced. And I feel like this did a good job of finally kind of bringing that back and giving that energy to battles again. I really enjoyed it. It gives some new kind of like strategy options and ways of playing. It reminds me a lot of how the anime does it, like the way Pokemon works in that game where moves don't have limited uses. or
Hmm.
they're not solely based off of just going back and forth. It's more about the context of the battle you're in. And I really enjoyed it, so I'll let y'all go now. But yeah, I liked the battles a lot in this game.
Well, I mean, yeah, I do think it is decently fun. Um, the only thing is that when you're gonna have a lock-on system,
Yeah,
um, don't make it to where you have to hold the button the whole time.
sure.
And like seriously, no one thought, oh, let's make it a toggle, or like give them the option to make it a toggle.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so you have to hold the button the whole time while then also doing everything else. And like, I don't know, it just gets a bit annoying when you're having to then like just keep holding down that trigger. And it's not the most comfortable trigger to hold down. And so it's like, okay, cool game design.
Fair enough. Yeah, I will admit it definitely has like the Pikmin 4 problem for me, where it's yeah, like locking. I don't know if you have this problem, either one of you, but I had the problem a lot of lock. I would lock onto the wrong thing a lot. Like I find a Pokemon and there'd be like those like Mega Shards near it. I would just keep locking on the Mega Shards and that would piss me off. I was like, brother, I'm trying to catch this Pokemon. Like, like come on.
Mm,
So yeah, I do wish there was a way to like make it a little better. Like maybe like let you like shift which one you're on like, while you're holding down the trigger maybe or something. I don't know.
you can.
Because oh, can you? Okay, well, that's at least something
Yeah, when
then.
you're
But
holding down, you just move the right stick.
oh, we'll see. I didn't even know that. That's crazy. But I
Bro.
mean, either even still though, yeah, it's like you'll be sitting there with like 8 Mega Shards on screen, like one Pokemon, and you have to shift through God knows how many before you get the thing you want. Sometimes it can be a matter of seconds if you catch a Pokemon or not. So I do wish
Uh-huh.
that was a little bit better done. I will agree with that for sure. But Isaac, do you like the battle system at all?
Yeah, I think Game Freak deserves a lot of praise for actually trying something new. It's been a long time coming, but yeah, I like that they were brave enough to try this direction. I think it's something that they could implement in the main series of the game. I
Yeah,
don't think they could they it seems like they were testing out in this game. We'll see if they actually do. Yeah, one thing, if I were to criticize it, it is very fresh and uh it's a very nice, like fun system for combat. If I were to criticize, make one criticization though, if you ever went to the online battles where you do like group battles with people,
yeah,
those were not super great just because the combat ended up being like the competitive scene ended up being like you would basically run away until one Pokemon gets down to low enough health and then you jump in and just steal the kill. And
yep,
so I thought the competitive scene in terms of like that type of combat wasn't super great, but just for like a purely player versus the world, it was a good well done combat system. I'm surprised they were able to make it as smooth as they did for that being the first time them trying it. So yeah, I think they deserve a lot of praise for that.
sure. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the online. I was actually mentioning that next. Yeah, the biggest problem with the online is only having a 4 player battle option. Like, why is there not a 1v1? Like that is, oh, it's so bad. I was actually playing that legit yesterday, trying to get the Delphoxite, and I was like, oh my God, like how many times am I gonna be like attacked from behind while attacking somebody else? Or I'll weaken this guy all the way down, and someone just walks up and steals it. Like it's just, oh, it's so annoying. I that is terrible. I hate that so much. Um, I hope they have a better strategy for that in the future because man, yeah, only 4 player battles is brutal. I can't get down with that. But yeah, overall the online is okay. I think everything else is done well enough. But yeah, those 4 player battles are killers. I can't do those. Um, Next up, the night area. So overall, night and day in this game. This game has a night and day cycle. Of course, at during the day, catch Pokemon, and you can run around the world, I guess more. I don't know. And at night, there is Pokemon battles you can do with other trainers. Do we think this mechanic worked? Do we like night and day cycles? I thought overall it was good with a few problems here and there that they could be tweaked. Like watching that stupid cutscene of like the Lumiose Tower like panning, like I could. never see that cutscene again, and it wouldn't be too soon. Like I am so tired of seeing that cutscene. Oh, so I hope that's something that's fixed a little bit, make that a little more streamlined. But ultimately, yeah, this game needed Pokemon battles in it. Legends Arceus didn't have almost any, other than like a few story battles here and there. Um, so that was a good idea, but ultimately, I think it could be tweaked a little bit. But what do y'all think about it?
I mean, it's all right.
Yeah,
I mean, like the thing of like, I kind of don't really care about the thing of like sneaking up on your opponent
sure,
and
yeah.
like whatever. I still don't even know what the advantage is. Is just that you get to attack first. Is that literally it?
Yeah, basically you get like a free hit, basically. Yeah.
And it's like, whatever. I mean, yeah. But then also like those battle zones. I mean, it's just random back streets and stuff like that, and so
Right.
it's like it's not like an inch and like because it's the same thing over and over again of just random back streets. It's like there's never like cool arenas really you fight in. And
Yeah,
like I think the only other thing is that like oh maybe you go into like a restaurant.
sure. Yeah,
And so like yeah, it's just it's not there's not a lot of variety in those fights. And so they're just kind of mid.
fair enough. Isaac, do you like them?
For yeah, the setting of the game, I think I agree with Josh. Like we had previously talked about it, but I'm just gonna keep bringing it up. Loom was just such a bad, not any. It wasn't small, but it was just like a bad place to put the setting of the game. But for the nighttime cycles, if that's what you're talking about in the battle systems,
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good because before Pokemon had just had trainers just sitting there, like looking so like unlifelike, just sitting on a path, waiting, like praying for someone to walk by so that they could actually move. And obviously,
Yes.
there are like exceptions to that. Like every once in a while, they'd have somebody just like walk up and down in the same path for like who knows how long they've been doing that. But this game makes it where the trainers are actually kind of like moving around just a little bit, and so it gives a little bit another deeper level of immersion, so that I don't feel like they're just like sitting there, just like lifeless eyes waiting for someone just to like walk in front of them and be like, oh, finally, I can
Sh-
move.
Sure. Yeah, no, and yeah,
And
now that you
so,
mentioned that,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead, please.
No, 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 that was pretty much finishing my thought. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, it's funny. We mentioned it a few times now, but like it feels like a big theme when it comes to this game, for me at least, is kind of just like practical fixes. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned the battle system, like how yeah, trainers just kind of just stand in place and wait for someone to walk in front of them in old games. You think of the battle system where like you use Earthquake on like a Venomoth thing and still hit because it's technically not, using Levitate or a flying type. Like it's just like this game does a lot of things where you look at it and a lot of things that you can like raise your eyebrows on and be like, that doesn't make any sense. Now all of a sudden they do, like they kind of change these kind of like game mechanic-esque features and made them feel more like they make sense within the Pokemon universe to me. I don't know. But I actually really appreciate that because yeah, I mean Pokemon I think kind of needed changes like that. Um and this isn't the first game to do this, and we saw this in Scarlet and Violet, but ultimately I think that was definitely appreciated because yeah, like it's again it kind of goes in this narrative like Pokemon is it's evolving in a way, like it keeps a lot of the things people like about the games, but it changes things I think make sense, and ultimately it makes for a different experience, but still one that feels fresh and fun. Like I don't feel like English changes are things that like I look at and go like why they do that, like Battle System. It like I said, it feels like the anime to me, like that's what the anime was like. So I appreciated that. Um, I guess lastly I'll mention, and this is gonna be my lowest point of the gameplay section, the Mega Evolution fights, where you fight against the Rogue Megas. I couldn't stand this. I don't know about y'all. I couldn't stand this part of the game. I thought these were, and we'll talk about this more in the story section. But I thought all these fights were complete momentum killers and kind of the story. It was a complete disaster. The fights took forever. Oftentimes you do three of them in a row. Um, they were tedious. Oftentimes you didn't have your own Mega Pokemon. They would literally take 10 minutes. Um, and I couldn't stand them. I thought there had to have been a better way to do those battles because every single time I got, the text that said, "Oh, there's three new rogue Pokemon out there," I literally just like, "Oh, like please no." So
Mm.
that was my least favorite part of this gameplay. I could not stand those battles. And I hope to God those never come back ever again. I could not stand them.
Hmm. Yeah, like I think they were probably trying to do something similar to like the like those Gigantamax battles.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed those because then those were like a 4v1 and had like some interesting mechanics to it. But then with this, it's like yeah, it's like just kind of like chip down their health and uh like just dodge and collect their
Mega
like
thing. This,
mega
yeah.
mega drip droppings or whatever.
Right.
And so it's just you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Uh,
I, I, I hated those. Like, yeah, it reminds me of, I don't really recall, but it reminds me of those ones they had in Legends Arceus. Like you had like one per like area. Um,
mhm.
and yeah, like, but even those I thought were just done better. One, there was far less of them. And two, it felt like even though they try to act like these had like a story significance, I
Mhm.
never really felt that way about them. Like it always just kind of felt like, oh, like we need to pad the story, so we're just gonna add three of these now. Like and it's just like, oh my goodness, like I don't want to do these. So I don't know. I just thought these were not very well done. It feels like nothing but padding to me. I couldn't stand them. Um, Isaac, I know you had mixed feelings on these, I believe, right? Or what?
Um, a little bit. Like I like the concept and the idea, but the execution was just not there. It ended up being like it wouldn't be a problem if it were long. Like I don't mind long boss fights, but it was just that it was so tedious and
Yeah.
just not like not at all very fun. You just sit there and like spam the same pretty much buttons and then just kind of roll out of the way every 2 seconds and it just doesn't feel smooth at all. Legend Arceus did it way better.
Right. Yeah. The big issue for me, honestly, is like if there was only five of these, like there were in Legends Arceus, they wouldn't be that bad. But there's like 20 of these things in this game, and I after like the fifth one, they just get so old, and there's too many of them. So that's my biggest complaint of them. I just wish there weren't so many. I think if there had been a lot less of them, it would have been a lot less. Um, I don't know, offensive. Um.
Mhm.
I guess that is all for this section. Is there anything else with the gameplay in particular you want to mention, or do you want to move on?
Uh, nah, you can move on.
Okay. Next I'll go into presentation. So this is going to be everything you're seeing and hearing on the screen. This is going to be your graphics, it's going to be your music, it's going to be voice acting, or in this case, a lack of, which we'll get into at some point. It's going to be how the menus work. So, is it fun to look through the menus and find items you need, all that. So I will let one of y'all start. What did you think of the presentation of this game?
Uh, uh, I mean, I mean, I liked it. I mean, the mu Pokemon always has good music.
Yeah,
Um, and I would say like the menus and stuff are definitely simple and easy to go through. Um, I I do like that they changed like how they do the move system of how it's just you could just swap them
right.
and all that. And I guess also in the context of this game, where it's an active time, it's good to kind of just have a bunch of different variety and being able to swap everything out. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, I do like the box system too, because now that's a really annoying thing is having to go back to like Pokemon centers and stuff. So it's nice
Mm,
that it's just you just have it at all times. So that's nice.
Sure.
Uh, um, yeah, and then besides that, I mean, it's kind of standard from the rest of Pokemon games where it's, you just have everything. I do think that like the healing system when you're in battle is a little um tedious and annoying just because it's kind of like I don't know how often you can heal, so I just kind of keep checking if I can heal, like
Yeah.
opening the menu and then doing that, and then it's like, oh, okay, I can't yet, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I would say that the menu doesn't do a great job of anything with that. Um, but I mean, outside of the battle, it's fine. Uh, and I guess, graphics aren't amazing. Um, but I mean, but at least I guess there's no lag.
Yes, most esteemed of achievements.
On the
Yes.
Switch 2 version at least.
Yes. All
Mhm.
right, Isaac.
Yeah, I think the user interface was really good. It was pretty easy to navigate through all the menus. It kind of like gave a crisp feel. Um, the graphics, the frames never really, I'd never noticed any drops or anything like that. It played very smoothly. Although I do not like them using the same textures over and over for like buildings. And then
Yeah.
also like even those textures are really bad. Like they didn't put a lot of effort into something like you can zoom in on the wall and it's just like, what is this? It looks like just really bad. Um, and then yeah, other than that, I thought it was pretty okay.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I actually I again I think I'll be the positive one here when it comes to the graphics. Now here's the thing. Now obviously is this a like triple A beautiful looking, like Final Fantasy 16 looking game? No, it's not that good. But I think ultimately I think this is one of those situations where if you look at Pokemon and you look at the history of this series, I don't think this is anything out of left field, bad or good. Like Pokemon has never been a game series that has kind of pushed limitations of any console or system. It's never been one to have these like grand or amazing looking areas and locations. It just doesn't do those things, and I don't think this game's doing that either. Is it a little bit more bland and basic? Sure. Yeah, yes, those windows are not the best of all time, but ultimately, I think the key is low impact. I think it's easy to kind of get hung up on the window in this game, or like back in Sword and Shield, it was like that one tree. Like it's easy to kind of look at those things and go, "Oh, this game looks terrible." But the key word is low impact. Like those things, while yes, they're not great, ultimately those are not the things that you look at and go, "That is defining my experience of this game." I do not feel those things are as important as people make them out to be. Um, and ultimately, I think the high end of that same argument is the character models in this game, I think are the best Pokemon's ever seen. They all look really sharp, in my opinion. I think they all look quite nice, frankly, and I actually really hope that this is what we can expect going forward. Especially like the main characters that you see often. They all look pretty detailed and pretty good. So I actually really liked the way they were made in this game, and I think it's a good kind of standard to hope for the future. Um, in terms of music, the music I think was good, not great. There were a few good songs here and there, but ultimately I think it's one of those things where it's like it's fine. I don't think it's winning any awards, but it's not bad by any means. Um, and then now for the key thing, I'm sure people are going to mention voice acting. Um, man. This game, I think really could have used voice acting. People have been asking for voice acting for a while now, really, at least since it came on the Switch. Um,
Mhm.
but this game, I think, really is the first time where it really, like, really shows. Like, how many times in this game do we see a cutscene and a character is moving their mouth, talking on screen, and there's just no
Yeah.
sound? Like, it
hmm
is just like, what are
Especially
we
because
doing?
then you can't like read it,
Yeah,
and then like when you're done reading it, like move forward, you have to wait for like the whatever time to go by.
yeah,
So you like have to wait for that. So yeah, that I think yeah, that is long overdue.
yeah. Isaac, I know you feel the same way, yes.
Yeah, they just need to put it in. They
Yeah.
just I don't know how much effort it takes to put that kind of detail in the game, but they need to do it.
Sure. Yeah, I honestly I wouldn't be surprised if maybe early on development they actually did plan to have it in because I can't imagine they had those cutscenes like that, knowing there was gonna be no voice acting. Like that was bad. But
Yeah, it led to a lot of awkward interactions.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But ultimately I feel like they just kind of like it is I believe it's one of those things that is very time consuming to do. You got the the cast people, you got to you got to record lines, you got to re-record lines. Um yeah, I know it can be very very taxing on the game's kind of like storage and all that. So I get at the end of the day why they didn't do it, but yeah, it showed really bad in this game. I sincerely hope this is the last game we talk about this because it's been at least some semblance of an issue since Let's Go, Let Pikachu and Eevee, in my opinion. Um, and it's only gotten worse. And I think this game has kind of hit a breaking point, so to speak. Like it's just really bad in this game. They gotta get it figured out. Um, so I really hope that next game, Gen 10, hopefully next year, we'll have it. But we'll see. Who knows? Um, the last thing I'll mention is don't mention the like the UI system and overall the kind of like the way you navigate the menus. Overall, I liked it, but there is one high complaint I have. Um, and that is when it comes to looking through your bag or like your inventory. I couldn't stand that. I thought that was very poorly organized. I don't know how often I've said it on videos, but I say a lot. One of the biggest critiques about games in general is that I have a very, very low tolerance for like nonsense in my games, and this felt like a lot of nonsense to me. There is literally a section of your bag called other items and it literally features almost everything under the sun. Like there is so many different kinds of items in there, and they're all unorganized, and like you don't even know what's in there and what's not. I hated that, and I wish that was better done because I have never experienced a Pokemon game that's had organization that was that bad. Like yes, I know they need a whole tab for like Mega Stones maybe or TMs, like that's fine, but when you have a section of your bag that has like pretty wings and like the EV boosting items, and then it's got like like evolutionary stones, like fire and water stones, and it's got you know God knows what else. Like I think it's got like the rare candies are in there. It's like oh my goodness, like it was just such a cluster of nonsense, and I hated that. I wish that was done better. I know it's kind of a small critique in the grand scheme of things, but that really annoyed me. I don't like when bags are when inventories are done that poorly, and I feel like that was just not a well done inventory system. I didn't like it at all. Um,
Mm.
but oh well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was egregious or anything. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the important stuff was at the top that I wanted, and then I just scrolled down
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean it wasn't
in that
awful.
sense.
I don't know. I just don't like it when I don't know where things are. And that was a common issue for me.
Uh,
I didn't know what sections certain items were in, and it made it take a lot longer than it should have to find what I needed. And that annoys me. So
mm,
yeah. It honestly kind of reminds me of the Breath of the Wild inventory, where like things are literally just like in random orders, and I don't know. I didn't like that.
I
But
don't think you played the same Breath of the Wild I did. But anyways,
okay.
Yeah, all the Breath of the Wild UI seem to be. There's just a weapon section, a shield section. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but then like
yeah,
all the like the food items though, like the food items were like all in, like
There's a food
mishmash
section
order.
too.
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
you don't know which food item is where, and like all different things. They
Okay,
heal
you
different
can
amounts of.
organize it.
Can you,
Yes, dude, look at this guy.
bro?
You didn't know that he could organize?
Well, but can you organize it like manually, or does it do it like in the order it wants to do it in? Is there like an
You,
organized button, or is it like you can move one thing to one box, out another box?
I guess there's an organized button,
Yeah. Well, so
but
that
I mean,
then the problem still stands then, if you ask
well,
me.
but then you'll
But
know where things are because you know what you're looking for. You just go to like that part in the organization.
all right,
How
if you
much
say so.
food did you have? I never had like more than 2 or 3 pages of food. What the?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I would have like four or five, at least, typically.
That's
I don't know.
still like
Whatever. All right, moving
yeah.
on. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up is going to be our last main section. This is going to be stories, characters, and the Pokemon themselves. So this is going to be the pacing of the story. So did we like the pacing? Did we think the overall story was good? Do you think it was told well? Did we actually like the story that was told? And then did we like the characters of the game? The MZ Club. Did we like AZ in this game? The various kind of like leaders of different buildings and areas. Um, do we like all those things? And I will actually start here. Again, I actually liked this. I thought this game had the most interesting and unique characters we've seen in a long time for Pokemon, probably since Black and White at least. Um, the AZ Club, or sorry, the MZ Club, I think was a charming kind of group of characters. I actually liked them a lot, albeit they were a little bit goofy and had some flaws. I think overall they were interesting. I thought AZ was fun. I thought Emma was fun. Um, I thought what were those fairy ladies for the end called? I forget their names, but they were interesting and funny. I thought overall this game did a great job actually of making me interested and overall kind of engaged with the story, which is not something that happens very often in Pokemon. Because again, Pokemon really is not known for their kind of story prowess by any means. Looked at the history of Pokemon, Black and White really is the only one that kind of goes into it. Um, and Game Freak has never been one to kind of tell a story that really like moves you. It's not The Last of Us, it's not Silent Hill 2, it's not Mass Effect, it's not any of those things. Um, but they do a good job in this one. I think this game definitely does the best job I've seen of Pokemon in quite a while, at the very least.
Eh.
Well, disclaimer, Josh is like 5 hours into the game, so he doesn't know almost any of the characters in
That's
it,
very
Whoa,
true.
so
hey,
he's
hey,
not really one to critique the story.
I've been playing a game with much better story, Wizard 101. And
Yeah, okay.
Oh my
so
goodness. Dear Lord of this
I've
stuff.
been playing a much better game. So
Uh-huh.
anyways.
Yeah, I guess I'll comment on it because I've actually, played through the whole game, so
Uh,
Yeah.
um
Or at least one of the
I
5 hours
think
of it.
you're right. I think it depends character to character. There were some they did very well. There were some that wasn't as good. Uh for some characters I feel like they didn't have a lot of depth. And that was kind of like the case for the dancing guy and also
Hmm.
oh my bad, the dancing girl. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not very good with names. The dancing girl and then the style guy. Like they gave them like some sort of reason for being there, but that was it. We never saw any like character development with any of them. We never saw anything other than like, oh, we're here to help you. We're so glad to be part of the team. We're here to help you. And you never see like their individual stories go anywhere. You never see anything come from them, and so it's kind of like they're just kind of put in there. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, they don't seem like as annoying as some of the characters we've had in the past in other games
Oh,
where they're just type
yeah.
matchup, type matchups, if you know what I'm talking about. But
Yep.
like they actually have like okay dialogue, but in terms of like their individual stories and character development and how deep they are, not very great. But then again, they do have characters like AZ, who does have like a very deep um character, and like you see it progress through the story. He regrets what he did, and you're able to see that, and then you're able to see that he finally like has relief that his mistakes have been fixed. And I'm
Yeah.
surprised that they put him dying in the game. That's not like typical typical Pokemon move, but I'm glad they did
Right.
because I think it added another layer to the story where it was just like, oh, wow, like
Right. Yeah, and that's a
it's
good
kind of a cool detail.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's like I think that's the key thing is like Pokemon games really try to be like as inoffensive as possible. Like they never really like blow you away, but they never really do anything bad either. It's kind of just like, okay, this is, a standard, basic story. This game definitely makes you feel things about these characters beyond surface level. Yeah, like seeing AZ actually die is pretty crazy. And I don't know if not only did no one see that coming, but ultimately, yeah, it makes you feel emotions for him. You're like, dang, that's a character that I have known. A lot of people since he was in the original X and Y 12 years ago. And so to see him, have a fate like that, it makes you feel things that not many Pokemon games really do. And I really appreciate it for that. And that gets me to a good segue, which is Isaac, I'll ask you since you've seen it. What did you overall think of the ending of this game beyond just ZA himself? Did we think this ending was interesting and good? I thought it was okay. There were some things I thought were done a little bit mediocrely, I guess, but other parts I thought were pretty good, and I thought they were actually quite charming. So I'll let you
Is
go
this a
now.
spoiler free review? Is that
Um,
what's going on? Or?
No, I don't care.
yeah, say what you want.
I don't care.
We
You
already
already
said
said that
ZA.
someone
We already said
dies.
ZA dies, so yeah, we're kind
Yeah.
of already past that.
Oh, true. My bad.
I mean, it makes sense.
Um,
He's like 3 years old or something. 3,000.
Yeah,
3 years old.
yeah,
I would say I'm gonna do an analysis of the story since I didn't really get to that part yet. But
yeah,
in terms of like Pokemon games, it's probably one of the better stories we've seen.
yeah.
Um, but again, like it just wasn't when I compare it to other games, it didn't have that wow factor. It was kind of just if you boil it down, it's just Pokemon Mega Evolve, and they don't want to.
Right,
Then the Floette Mega Evolves and it doesn't want to, and then you beat it, game over. And it's just like not game over, you win the game, but game end. But it's very like nothing very much happens other than oh no, like there's some real Pokemon, and then there like other than that, there's no like story, there's no character development for your character. There's like it's just really like sad because it feels like nothing really happens other than oh I just like Pokemon are going crazy. You call it,
right.
you're done. And
Yeah,
and the ending felt very unsatisfactory because there's nothing to be satisfied about. There's no like happy ending or anything like that. Well, I guess like it is a happy ending, but at the same time, it's like you didn't accomplish anything.
right,
And so I think it was pretty unsatisfactory, like the
right.
entire experience.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is I'll go back to what I said earlier. Like, yeah, I think ultimately this is one of those things where, like, yes, if you compare this game to the best of the best, if you think about like the best stories out there, yes, does this game compete to those? Absolutely not.
Not even the best of the best.
No, but I think if you look at like keep in mind this is Game Freak we're talking about here. This is not Square Enix. This is
Hey,
not
step it up.
this is not Naughty Dog. This is not Monolith Soft. Like, this is who Pokemon is, you know? And while, yes, I think it could always be better, and that's what we obviously hope for, I think it's one of those things where, like, you look at the history of Pokemon, you look at the peak of Pokemon, gens, 3 through 5 or so, whatever you want to call it. Um, those generations didn't have great stories either. Black and White obviously went a
You
little bit
say
more.
Gen 5?
I did, yes. Listen, always
I
I love
cannot
Black and
believe
White.
this.
I love Black and White. Don't get me wrong, but that story is maybe
I cannot
one.
believe this.
No, listen, I'm saying it. I think the Black and White story is better, but ultimately it is only about one, maybe two steps above the usual of Pokemon, and it is still a story that I think is. I mean, like, listen, Pokemon Black and White. Compare that game to the best stories you've played. Is it anywhere close? No.
It's
You
pretty
know,
good.
and so I'm sitting here going, okay, well, if you look at Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Emerald, etc., those games have very surface level stories too. And those games are beloved to death by Pokemon fans all over the world. If those games get a pass, I don't know why this one shouldn't either. Um, so
Because their
ultimately,
stories were a lot better.
you think Emerald had a better story than this?
And because they're a really
Yes.
huge company, and it's like, I feel like that you shouldn't be like, oh, it was okay in the past, but it's like, especially when they're raising prices too, and it's like as if it was like a higher standard game.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I just feel like if you're looking for an elite story, you're playing the wrong series. That's all I gotta say. Because like I said,
I'll agree with you on that,
yeah, like Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Black and
except for Black
White,
and White.
yeah, Pokemon Emerald, like those are all games that people love to death, and they don't have great stories. Like Black and White is a little bit better, but ultimately they're none of them are winning awards, you know? Um, and those games are all loved. And those games were all, Pokemon was a big company back then too. And so, no one had a problem then. I don't really see why all of a sudden it's a problem now, especially when you consider this game does have some elements of a decent story going on. It has memorable characters, it has depth, it makes you feel things for some moments of this game. So ultimately, I don't think it's that bad. Like I said, yes, it's not a Last of Us, it's not a Mass Effect, but I feel like it's heading in the right direction. And I ultimately think, considering it's Pokemon and Pokemon focuses on the things they want to focus on, they want to make good gameplay, they want to make it fun, they want to make it fun to explore and catch Pokemon and hang out with your Pokemon, all that. That's what they're going for, and they did that part well. And ultimately, that's what they were trying to do. They were not trying to make an elite story. They were not trying to make a bunch of characters that were gonna stick with you for the next 20 years. That's just not what they do. And I don't know, like look at another game, like I don't know, like Mario Bros. That's not a bad example, but like Mario Bros is not meant to have this meaningful story. That's just what Mario is. Mario is about platforming and having fun. It's not about having this deep story that's gonna stick with you forever. Mario Galaxy kind of does it, but that's the only one. And I feel like that's what Pokemon is as well. It's not the kind of game that they're trying to make. They're not trying to make this grand adventure story. It's all about having fun. That's what Game Freak does. So that's my piece on it. Um, I just think people look for the wrong things in these games. Um, so yeah. Um,
I also thought of another category I want to talk about. Memorable
sure.
moments in this game. There are not very many. But in other games like Black and White or Heart Gold and Soul Silver, like I remember riding the carousel with N, or
Yeah.
like you get to these big cities and it's like, whoa, like this is crazy. Or you get to like ancient ruins and you're like, whoa, like this means something. And here there was no memorable moments. But that's just aside from me.
Right. No, I do agree. Yeah, and that's I mean ultimately that's one of those things you look at like Black and White and go, this is where Black and White clearly excelled, and that's why people like the story so much is does have those moments, as many of them. But like I said, I think it is unfortunate because Black and White I wish was the standard of Pokemon. I do wish that at least had a more emphasized story on a general basis. But like I said, I just think the reality is it's not what Game Freak focuses on. It's not they I don't want to say they don't care about it, but it's not something they want to spend that much time on, you know? And that's unfortunately something that could be fixed, at the end of the day it's very easy for us to say, yes, they could spend 5 years between each game, and each one could have a really good story, but that's not going to happen. It's just not. So you
Why
kind of
not?
have to take what you can get here, and I think ultimately this is not bad when you consider that,
Why not?
because they're not going to do that. The Pokemon Company is too greedy and too impatient to
Well,
spend 5 years per game. That's just never going to happen.
mm,
I'm not saying I like it, but that's
mm,
just the way it is.
well, uh, uh,
Um, okay. So that is mostly everything. So lastly, I will ask you, or I guess second to last, um, are we excited for the DLC of this game? Obviously, we saw a big
no.
trailer for it yesterday, um, as we're recording this. But are we excited for the DLC? Are we going to buy it? Do we look forward to it? Do we think it looks good? All that.
Mm, probably not. That's
Okay.
it.
I'm gonna say they added components to make it like a tiny bit. Yeah, I think overall probably not, just because the two megas didn't look very interesting. The only thing that actually piqued my interest was Pokemon over level 100, which is
Yeah.
like that's kind of like a cool concept. But at the same time, they didn't show anything very much of like what the this DLC is gonna look like other than a monochrome city that looks like it's even
Yeah.
more bland than the original city. So
Sure.
it's gonna be like I'm sure it'd be cool when you first step in, but after a while it's gonna get old. And there's just doesn't seem to be it didn't really reveal any of the story. And so far I don't know what kind of story they could have if the setting's a monochrome, like even more bland city than what you're already in. So I'm not like super excited as of right now.
Fair
Mm,
enough. So yeah, I will continue to be the lone holdout here. I actually am excited for it. Does it blow my socks off? I wouldn't go that far, but I usually when I have a game that I like and it gets DLC, I'm usually excited for it. I know people have questions about the DLC. It looks like a roguelike. It has, kind of some weird gameplay changes going on. But I think it's something that I'm excited for and want to give it a chance. So ultimately I'm there for it. I obviously it could end up being bad. I'm not promising anything here, but I do think it looks good enough. I think it's got enough going for it based on the trailer for me to be excited. So I'll be there for it. I'm excited. Um,
Mm.
so then let me ask you this now. So to kind of end off here, two things. First, how would we rate this game overall? So on a letter scale, I'll say, I want us to rate this game. So A, B, C, D, F. And I'll go first. I will give this game an A minus. I think this game was really good overall. Is it missing some things? Are some things still flawed about it? Yes, I definitely believe so. But ultimately, I had a lot of fun with this game. It's probably the most fun I've had Pokemon since Gen 6. Probably, maybe Legends Arceus would compete, but if not that one, Gen 6 probably. And that's been over 10 years ago. So I give this game a lot of credit for the things it does well. Does it have some shortcomings and some weaknesses? Absolutely. But ultimately, I think this game does a lot of things well. Ultimately, it's a fun game to play, which is a problem I've had with a lot of Pokemon games recently. Looking at you, Let's Go, and Sword and Shield. So, yeah, what would y'all rate this game on a letter scale?
Like a C, maybe. It's okay.
All
It's
right, Mr. 5 hours in.
I mean, it's like I'd rather spend like $70 on maybe something else sometimes, you know?
Sure. I mean, listen, you spent $500 on this game because you bought it with your console. So,
Well, I didn't buy it for Pokemon.
I guess, but I don't know.
I
I'm
just
just
thought might as well save money on the game because I don't want to spend $70 on it. So, and
sure.
I knew I was gonna get a Switch 2 eventually. So, you
Right.
know. So yeah. See.
All right.
I think if you compare it to other Pokemon games, I put it in B plus tier, maybe A. I might give it A. But if you're comparing it overall games, yeah, I'd probably do what Josh said and give it like a C.
Interesting. Wow. All right. So to get kind of a scale of what that means, what would you say is like your favorite Pokemon game, and what would you give that, and what is your least favorite, and what would you give that, both of you?
I guess most favorite? Probably Heart Gold. And that would be like an A.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then least favorite?
Least favorite? I guess probably just the original like Pokemon Yellow.
Really? And what would you give that? Like a F?
That's like a D or E. Like it
Wow.
doesn't hold up super well, I feel like.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Isaac.
Yeah, I'd say my most favorite. I don't know if I have a most favorite, but definitely S tier games are like Platinum or Gold and Soul Silver, Black and White, Emerald. And I think those would all be in the A or S tiers. Definitely S tier for like Platinum, Heart Gold, and Black and White. But in terms of the least favorite Pokemon game I've played, it's probably got to be Sun and Moon. And disclaimer, I never finished those games,
Yeah.
but the the mechanics were just not good for the gym battles. So that was that like no, there was no gym battles. That's the and the mechanics they replaced it with were not very good. So
Right.
that's like the gameplay just right off the bat wasn't enough to pull me in. So yeah,
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. And what letter given that? An F?
I give it a probably an E.
An E? Okay. All right. Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I'll say yeah, for me, Pokemon Platinum is definitely my best. A plus plus plus, S tier, whatever you want to give it. Favorite game of all time. I love that game. Um, so that's definitely my high end. Low end would probably be Red and Blue. I just think that those games have not aged very well. I think they're very much hyped up by Pokemon fans who started those games and remember that from their childhood and all that. I just don't think they hold up very well. A lot of the AI mechanics and overall kind of just way in which the game was programmed have not aged very well. Um, as much as I don't like some of the newer games like Sword and Shield and Let's Go, those games at least have something going for them. I don't think there's almost any reason to play Red and Blue these days other than just a nostalgia trip. So I would give those games a bomb for me. I give those. I would probably give them an F. I just I have no reason to play those. I don't like them at all. Um.
Mhm.
So yeah. Sorry. So very last question here. Um. What do we think this game's legacy ultimately will be? in five, when we look at back at this game in like 5, 10 years, do we think this game will be looked on positively, negatively, kind of in the middle? Like ultimately, what do we think this game will be thought of as? Because a lot of Pokemon games kind of go through this renaissance of when they first come out, people hate on them. Like, I remember Black and White was not popular when it came out, and 5, 10 years later, all of a sudden now everyone loves the game. So we see a lot of
Very
discourse on the
true.
game right now, but do we think in over time this game could be viewed more positively?
I mean, I would say maybe. I mean, like it's not that like I don't like the game or anything. I think it's just that it's very like middle of the road.
Yeah,
Uh, and now that's just like Pokemon is just kind of like a up in the air thing of like it's okay
right.
and all that. And so I think unless Game Freak really like ups their game and like makes like their next games like really good. If it's all kind of the same stuff like this, then I'd say this is just kind of going to be middle of the road.
Sure. Isaac.
I would say that this game, its legacy, I say people are going to look on it pretty fondly 5 years from now. I also think, like I said, they have the potential of implementing the combat mechanics in terms of like the real-time battling. If they implement that in the main series, it's going to have like an incredible legacy because look where it started.
Right.
Um, but I think people 5 years from the line will look back on it and be like, it was a good experience, but um, I don't think they'll have any like super grand opinions. I don't think it's going to be like Hard Gold and Source Silver, Black and White, where people look back on it and they're like, whoa, incredible. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. No, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I think ultimately I think long term people will look at this game and say, I had fun, I enjoyed it. Is it one people are gonna go back and replay a bunch and hold them as high regard and high esteem and all that? Probably not. I don't think this game is quite that good. But I think
Yeah, because they're gonna just say X and Y was better.
right, and that's what I was actually gonna mention is I think people are gonna compare between X and Y a lot and say X and Y did it first and it was better. I know it was two different games, but ultimately I think the biggest thing this game has going for it long term is what it sets up in terms of yes, like Isaac mentioned, the combat and building off of Legends Arceus when it comes to the way you catch Pokemon and the way you explore kind of these open areas. Um, and that part I think is going to be exciting because we've seen Scarlet and Violet do it, and I've seen this game do it. So I think it'll be interesting to see how much of this game is brought over to future games, especially future non Legends games. But ultimately, yeah, I think this game is one that people look back on and say, I had fun, I enjoyed it. Um, but it's not one people are going to think about often when they replay games. When I think about replaying a Pokemon game, I'm looking at Gens 3 through 6. Emerald, Platinum, X and Y, etc. Um, and I think that will stay that way. I don't think this game will change that. Um, so yeah. All right. Any final
Yeah.
thoughts on this game? Anything else you want to say, or are
Mm,
we done here?
no, I've said my piece.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that
uh,
has been
uh,
all. Oh, go ahead, Isaac, please.
no, I was just gonna say probably same as Josh.
All
I
right.
gave a good analysis.
Okay, fair enough.
Mid out of 10.
Bit at a time. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's been all. Hope you all enjoyed this review-esque video. Maybe I'll do more of these if I get good reception from it. I don't know. But but yeah, and also in the future, disclaimer, I may be doing a Pokemon tier list video soon. I haven't really thought much about it yet, but maybe doing
What?
that. If y'all are interested in being on that video, we'll talk about it maybe more once it's over. But
Hmm.
yeah. All right. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.
And your life.
Oh.
Yeah.